The Democrats are trying to steal an election. When was the last time that happened? At least that we know about. Coming up next on Deceptions of the Ages News. Hello everybody, welcome to Deceptions of the Ages News. We're going to be talking about the things that we always talk about: conspiracies, Mormons, Freemasons, and extraterrestrials. But before we do that, I just want to encourage you to hit that subscribe button, like this video, and don't forget to ring that bell. All right, so let's talk about the last time the Democrats stole an election. Now, some of you may know this, and some of you may not. If you don't know it and it's surprising to you, just check the history books. So we have to go back to, it was about 1959, and there was a mobster in New York, and his name was Paul, I think it was Paul Castellano. I'm sure it was one of the Castellanos. Going back just a little bit, the Kennedys of John F. Kennedy fame were mobsters. His father was a rum runner, and he had friends like Castellano and Sam Giancana in Chicago, and probably even knew Al Capone. So these guys were all contemporaries, but Kennedy went legitimate. But by 1959, the head of the New York mob, Castellano, said he took out a hit on Joe Kennedy, the father. And the reason he took out the hit was because Joe Kennedy, now that he is legitimate, his son is in the Congress, he wants to shun all of these mafia figureheads, right? Well, the mafia figureheads in New York didn't take that very lightly, and so they put out a hit on Joe Kennedy. Now, when Joe Kennedy heard about it, and this is all in a book by the son of Sam Giancana, the head of the Chicago Mafia during the 1960s. So a meeting was called, and Joe Kennedy went there and surprised everybody when he not only wanted them to take the hit off, but he also said that he wanted the mafia's help in getting his son John elected to the presidency. Well, when the mafia figureheads thought about it, they said, well, okay, finally we'll have our own guy in the White House. And so the rest of it is basically history until we get to the election night. And this is what happened, and check the history books. Hello, are you tired of the same old romance books that vary little from one to another? Have you ever wondered if there are any writers out there with a refreshing new style who are smart and witty, keeping the story refreshing as you continue to turn page after page, wondering what is going to happen next? Another year in Oman, between a rock and a hard place, at HEINESSIGHT.com. Links in the description. Now, back to our show. And they even announced this on Fox News, that in 1960, the ballots were not counted in Dallas, and they were not counted in, guess where? Chicago, until later on. And once they were counted, now remember, these were also heavily mobbed up cities and government precincts. So the mafia gave the election to John Kennedy through Dallas, through Texas, through Johnson and his political machine, and through the mafia political machine in Illinois. So what happened? Well, the rest of that also is history, that basically John Kennedy was not the mafia's man in the White House. He was not the CIA's man, and he was not the military-industrial complex's man, and so we saw what happened to him. Have you ever dreamed of being consumed in a river of lava, or being squashed flat in a scalding pyroclastic flow? The fact is, you probably haven't, but you might when you find out what happens when selling real estate mixes with a secret weapons project called Snowden. Is it fact or is it fiction? The Rainier paradigm is available at HEINESSIGHT.com and anywhere fine books are sold. The links are in the description. Now, back to our show. So that is the precedent for what we're looking at right now. Now, did they know at the time that John Kennedy stole the election? Of course they did. The Republicans, Richard Nixon was told, don't fight it. This is going to just destroy the country. It's going to tear people apart. So Richard Nixon, he agreed and he didn't say anything about it. Was there something in the works already to take care of John Kennedy? We don't know. But all of this has great implications right now when once again the Democrats are using not the mafia, they're using, well, the mafia, the social media giants, and they're using these globalists and all kinds of outside corporate money to manipulate the American election. Basically, it's China trying to take over the United States. And it's nothing short of that. So we will see what happens with this election, but the precedent with Kennedy was not a good one. And if I was Joe Biden, especially with somebody like Kamala Harris behind me, I'd be really watching out. So this is Deceptions of the Ages News. This is just a quick report, and I thank you for your time. Keep watching, and we'll see you next time.